what happens is you invest that time, like you say, and you show your interest and you've done your research and you're asking all, great questions, getting to know that person, even that prospective client. They do come around. They go, wait a minute, tell me what you do. Oh, you do that? I actually have a need, because you didn't show up, try to sell them. You spent the time to, kind of try to foster that relationship. And it does circle back. I see it all the time, even when I'm doing it and I'm not out to get business. I'm just meeting with someone. They're like, wait a minute, what do you do again? Oh, you know what? I have a need.
Your business's success depends on relationships with customers, relationships with employees, and relationships with stakeholders. What do they all have in common? They're all human. Because no matter if your business is B2B or B2C, it's really H to H, human to human. Welcome to the Human Connection Podcast. I'm your host, Karl Ponto. Each week I bring you stories, insights, and practical advice from experts that you can apply to your growing company and daily life. This week I'm excited to connect with Larry Kaufman. Larry is the best-selling author of the NCG Factor, a formula for building life-changing relationships from college to retirement. He is a connector, giver, and rainmaker who lives his life to help others succeed. He is a senior-level sales and operations leader running the Midwest region for Jefferson Wells. Larry is a global speaker on networking, leadership, and sales. He has also been a global trainer and speaker on LinkedIn for almost 2 decades. He is an investor and advisor to several local technology companies and supports various local and national charities. Congrats on the NCG Factor and welcome to the Human Connection Podcast.
Thank you, Karl. Great way to start out the new year. Good to see you.
Absolutely. So glad to have you on the show, because I think you're one of the perfect people to talk to about how companies can build and how professionals can build stronger, authentic relationships, because that seems to be where a lot of companies are realizing they're having this gap between themselves and their audience, their clients, their customers. So how do you see companies going about building authentic relationships the right way?
Well, if it's with your staff or it's with your clients, it's questions, it's research. I'm thankful for AI in some respects because it helps us to dig a little deeper. Hopefully it's the right information. I think the people we ask about the things we uncover, they'll tell us pretty quickly if it's not correct. But it's asking really great questions, doing our research and homework up front, looking at Karl's LinkedIn profile and something I can extract. And, you're a fellow connector and giver, and so we align in many, many ways. But being able to look at people for their backgrounds, things that they've done, something personal, something they're passionate about, it's getting to know people better instead of just asking for something you want. It's getting to know people, listening more, letting the other person talk more. And when you ask great questions, you get to know people, you may find that they need help. You and I have talked about there's things that you could use some help with. And by learning more about you, I've understood that. And if I'm going to help you now, I've asked the right questions on how to help you. And that's going to help to build a deeper, more authentic relationship. We could do that, much better with our clients and with our own internal staff and, people we report up to, people that are on our teams, our peers. It's listening, asking great questions, getting to know people better, taking that time out instead of just selling, promoting, what you do, what your company does. Set it aside for a minute and just get to know people. That's how you become more authentic with people and have that human to human connection, as you refer to.
It's very interesting the way you framed authenticity or authentic connection as an analogous to being just a deeper connection, because there is that the rush to be efficient or just to get results in business often makes people not invest in building those deeper relationships. And I think it's when people think about, how do I be authentic? And it seems like it's such a hard thing to wrap your head around about what makes it an authentic relationship. But I think the way you framed it there simplifies it down, because the key to building that authenticity based on what you said there was just investing more time in those relationships and finding the common ground. Because I think, again, people are applying that mindset of let's like build authenticity at scale. Let's make it like let's systematize, and when really it's what makes it an authentic connection with someone on your team is going to be a different part of who you are, who they are, than what makes it an authentic connection with a client. But you don't know what that is till you actually invest the time and listen and get to know them. And so you can still have steps you take, similar questions you might ask to get to know people better, but it starts with the intention of going to be spending time and asking questions and being interested in other people, rather than thinking about, well, what do I need to say to seem authentic? It's like, well, it's not about what you say, it's about what you don't say, how you hold space for other people. I think really builds that authenticity.
I totally agree with that. I mean, you're trying to find a job and you're interviewing with someone and you have a similar passion with cures for autism, or Alzheimer's, and you saw that in their profile. And you could mention that. Same thing in business, right? When you're trying to secure a client or with someone on your team or a peer or a colleague. I mean, it's very simple. It's like, Karl, where are you from? Where'd you grow up? Tell me about your family. Do you have your own family, your own personal family? Tell me about your extended family. Tell me about some things you like to do. If your LinkedIn is barren, there's nothing there, I'm going to ask you, right? So I can learn more about you. And people do rush to they feel rushed that they've got to sell or promote something. And even when I'm meeting one-to-one with people on my staff, I start out with, how are you? Tell me what's going on in your world. Anything I can do to help you. And so it's just taking that moment out, not to rush into business. And it's okay. It's okay to meet with a prospective client. And they say during that meeting, it's funny, we've been talking for an hour and I know nothing about you, Karl. That's a good outcome. Great. Well, Karl, how about we set up another meeting, and I'm happy to share more about myself, but I'm not done with you. So I want to learn more.
Yeah. The adage that came to mind as you're saying that last bit was, if you want to connect with people, if you don't want to be, you're not trying to be interesting, you're trying to be interested. The more interested you can be in who they are, what they're about, what they care about, and asking a lot of questions, and then showing that you're paying attention by asking them to tell me more about that, or asking follow-up questions that show you're actively paying attention to them. That builds way stronger connections than someone who's only talking about themselves and trying to seem like they're really, really impressive or exciting. And that, like you said, if you've been talking for a while and they realize, oh my gosh, I don't know anything about you, I want to learn more about you, because you've invested so much time into them and getting to know them, that's a great sign that you're laying the foundation for a strong relationship, because that drive to reciprocate, which 99% of people have when they feel like they've been listened to, will be triggered, and you'll have them approaching you wanting to learn more because you put the effort in to learn about them and show that you're seeing them and listening. And that's really powerful.
It really is. It works well in dating too, Karl.
Yeah, because it's this sort of advice for building relationships we're talking about is, it's not a business or a certain industry. It only works. And if you're working with people, this is how people are wired. And it's important to understand that aspect of human connection, because this works well with any sort of relationship, not just the business ones.
It does. Yes.
So when you're working with people on this, like, and working with companies on building these sorts of skills and habits, what are some of the success stories or the impact it's had on the companies when people start to practice these approaches and these behaviors.
Well, you know, it's interesting if you're talking with a prospective client and you've done your research and homework and you don't delve deep into business. And companies have brought me in because they said we've been too transactional with our client relationships. We haven't invested time, and we've gone right to showing up and throwing up and talking all about how great we are and all the services and updates. And we didn't take time to get to know them. And what's happened, and I'm not going to even point to one success because there's many. What happens is you invest that time, like you say, and you show your interest and you've done your research and you're asking all, you know, great questions, getting to know that person, even that prospective client. They do come around. They go, wait a minute, tell me what you do. Oh, you do that? You know, I actually have a need because you didn't show up, try to sell them. You spent the time to, you know, kind of try to foster that relationship. And it does circle back. I see it all the time, even when I'm doing it and I'm not out to get business. I'm just meeting with someone. They're like, wait a minute, what do you do again? Oh, you know what? I have a need, or a friend of mine in YPO or Vistage or whatever has a need. Let me connect you. I didn't even know you did that because we didn't talk business time and time again. And so if you shift from selling and you move to being authentic and getting to know people, it is a game changer. And when you get to know people and you end up helping them with something, and it may not be business related, it may be with a child, a spouse, a friend, a peer, family member, everything changes. And, you know, so I really go down the path of, Karl, think of me as your indispensable sort of concierge. And so whether it's today or down the road, you go, I don't know where to go for this, but I need help. I just got a message yesterday from someone who's actually in my book. And he said, someone that helped him launch his career is out of work. I don't know what to do for him. He said, because he is your relationship. If he can't break into a company, he sees a job that he wants at a company and he can't break into that company, I want you to have him reach out to me. I'm going to help him open that door, even though I don't even know him, but I know about him over the years, how highly you value that relationship and what he means to you. And so he's now going to get into my inner circle of relationships. It just goes miles for everybody. It's a good thing.
Yeah. And I love that mindset, that approach, and when you build such a strong reputation with people like you have, it really it opens a lot more doors for yourself, but also it means that whenever you need something from other people, you're going to have all these people rushing to help you because you've given so much in the past. And the metaphor that I've heard really I encapsulate this as, you've put so many deposits into the various accounts around your network of these relationships that if you need something from someone, they're going to be there to help you when you're down on a knee for whatever reason. Whereas if you're only selling and asking from people and trying to get stuff from people, then you don't have the strength of these relationships to draw on when you need help. And so it takes a longer term mindset and the sort of giving mindset that we've talked about a lot on this show. It allows you to be much more resilient when obstacles come up or challenges that you didn't expect pop up and kind of sucker punch you, because you'll have this network of connections that are wanting to reciprocate because of all that you've given them when they were in need. And that kind of relationship network is an invaluable resource that so many businesses and professionals don't have, because they're not in that mindset of giving and thinking in as long of a term when it comes to their strategy for building these sort of connections.
Well, I think everything you said is correct. And it's probably easy to just share like a quick story. Someone I was helping years ago when he was at another company, I hadn't talked to him for like 10 years. I got an email out of the blue from him, and his email had an attachment. He said, "Larry, been a while. Hope you're doing great. Hope everything's good with business and family. I'm in this new company. I'm doing this for this new company. Look at the attachment. And I'm wondering if you know any companies this would be of value to, and you can make some introductions." That was his reach out after 10 years. So I had to like step back and think about how am I going to respond? And so I said, "It's really great to hear from you. It's been a long time. We haven't spoken. We don't have updates on one another. Do me a favor. I'm happy to help you with this new endeavor. Would you humor me by reading my book? Will you get a copy on Amazon and read my book? And then after you read it, come back to me with your ask and let's talk about it." So a few weeks later, he came back, he emailed me. He said, "Larry, I read your book. Thank you." And he had an attachment all about my book and broke down certain chapters. He got it that he was not building a relationship again. He was just asking all about himself. There's nothing authentic there. And he said, "I really want to get caught up and get to know you and how I could help you." And didn't even reference me helping him. And we did set up a call. I got caught up on each other, and I offered to help him. And so the ball is in his court now to identify where and who I can connect him with, but we're in a better place now. And he understands his misstep, which is a big misstep, and a lot of people do it. And that's why you got to build authentic relationships when you do need to call in those favors, Karl, where you need to get into a company for a prospective client or to help a friend or peer or child or spouse. You can't do it with these transactional relationships. No one's going to want to help you.
Yeah, that's a great story of the behavior that a lot of professionals have, where they'll just go out and ask someone that, like, you probably looked through his CRM and just was sending that to almost everyone and didn't really think about recent interactions or the status of the relationship. And so I commend him for reading the book and applying it and recognizing his own shortcoming, and it looks like amending his behavior and his habits to build better relationships, which I don't think everyone would do, but I think it definitely shows how the kind of standard marketing or sales strategies that companies and have implemented in order to, quote unquote, scale as rapidly as they think they need to, end up failing in the long term because it doesn't build these lasting relationships beyond the transaction, and that ends up kind of shooting themselves in the foot in the long run, where for a little while it can work, but eventually you're going to burn through enough opportunities, and you're going to run out of gas because you don't have a renewable source of business that or sustainable source of business, because you're not connecting with people on that human to human level.
Agreed. Totally agree.
So when I have an idea of what you might be answering this question. So what's a good first step for someone who realizes maybe they're doing too much transactional stuff and need to build some more relationships? What do you suggest their first step is to make that transition?
Well, I think look at the people they would like to reconnect with, connect with. Maybe there's some people they've connected with, and they could be prospective clients, referral partners, whatever that may be, and reach back out and go, "Karl, we connected, a few months ago. I've been kind of remiss in getting to know you, Karl. And I've done some research, and I would really love to have a conversation to learn more about you and how I could be helpful to you and those in your network and inner circle. And could you make time for me, whether it be a Zoom? Can I take you out to coffee, breakfast, lunch? And I want to make this about you. And if I received a message like that, how do you turn that down? Right? So I've had that realization that I may be messed up, and I was, showing up and throwing up in my last encounter with you. Now I want to make amends and I want to redo.
Awesome. Love it. Well, thank you so much for connecting with me today, Larry. If you enjoyed this episode of the Human Connection Podcast, please leave a comment, and subscribe. If you want to check out more information about myself or Larry, check out the links in the show notes. And remember, no matter if your business is B2B or B2C, it's really H to H, human to human. Happy connecting.